I never thought my wife would drop a bombshell on our anniversary. But there she was, dressed in the same red dress she wore on our wedding night, holding a glass of wine, staring at me like she had something rehearsed. "I want an open relationship," she said, her voice calm, almost casual. At first, I laughed. I thought it was a joke, but she didn't laugh back. "I've been thinking about it for a while," she continued. "I love you, but I think we should explore other connections." My stomach twisted. My mind raced. Explore? What did that even mean? Then it hit me. This wasn't a suggestion. This was a confession. And suddenly, every late-night text, every canceled date, every distant glance made perfect sense. I just didn't know yet how deep the betrayal really was, or how far I would go to make her regret it. From the outside, our marriage was perfect. A love story that started in college, blossomed into a whirlwind romance, and led to a beautiful wedding 5 years ago. I was Ethan, a 33-year-old software engineer who had worked my way up to a senior position. My wife, Olivia, was 31, a freelance graphic designer with an eye for beauty and a smile that could light up a room. She was the kind of woman people gravitated toward, confident, charming, effortlessly magnetic. We had built a comfortable life together in our cozy suburban home. Our friends envied us. "You guys are the perfect couple," they would say, watching the way Olivia and I laughed at inside jokes, how we still held hands in public, how we danced in the kitchen when no one was watching. And for the longest time, I believed that too. But looking back, there were cracks in our foundation, subtle ones, barely noticeable at first. Like how Olivia had grown distant in the past 6 months. She was always distracted, her phone practically glued to her hand. If I walked into the room, she would quickly put it down or tilt the screen away. I told myself it was nothing. Just work. Then there were the canceled date nights. Olivia had always been spontaneous, the kind of woman who would pull me into an impromptu road trip or surprise me with a homemade candlelit dinner. But lately she had excuses. "I'm too tired tonight, babe." Rain check. "I have a client deadline, I'll be up late." Girls' night. "I'll be back late, don't wait up." At first, I didn't think much of it. Relationships go through phases, right? We'd been together for almost a decade. The spark naturally dims a little. But there was something different about this. The way she avoided eye contact when I asked about her day. The way she laughed at texts she never shared with me. The way she started wearing perfume before her so-called girls' nights. Then there was our anniversary dinner. I had planned it weeks in advance, reservations at her favorite restaurant, a surprise gift, and a night meant to remind us of everything we had built together. But Olivia had barely touched her food. She kept checking her phone, her fingers tapping anxiously against the table. "Everything okay?" I had asked, reaching for her hand. She forced a smile. "Yeah, of course. Just thinking." "About?" She hesitated. Then, as if making a decision in real time, she set her fork down and looked at me with strange intensity. "Ethan, have you ever thought about opening our relationship?" The words didn't register at first. I blinked, confused, waiting for her to laugh. To say she was joking. But she didn't. "I just think monogamy isn't for everyone," she continued carefully, watching my reaction. "And maybe it's time we explore what else is out there. Together." I should have seen it then. The red flags weren't just hints anymore, they were flashing sirens. She wasn't asking for an open relationship. She was already in one. I couldn't stop thinking about Olivia's words. Maybe it's time we explore what else is out there. It echoed in my mind, gnawed at me like a slow poison. I told myself that maybe, just maybe, this was just an idea she was toying with, not something she had already acted on. But deep down, I knew better. That night, I lay awake while Olivia scrolled through her phone beside me, the screen's glow reflecting in her eyes. She was smiling, softly, secretively, like a teenager with a crush. "Who are you texting?" I asked casually. Her fingers froze for half a second before she locked her phone and turned toward me. "Just Emma. She's going through a breakup." Emma, her best friend. A convenient excuse. "Oh," I said, forcing a nod. But something didn't sit right. Olivia had a habit of oversharing. If Emma were really going through a breakup, I would have heard a 10-minute rant about how men are trash and how Olivia was going to take her out for drinks to celebrate her freedom. Instead, silence. That was the first crack. The lies start small. The next few weeks felt off. Olivia was more affectionate than usual, almost too affectionate. She would kiss me more often, laugh at jokes that weren't funny, ask about my day, like she was making up for something. But at the same time, she was more distant. She started working late. A lot. New client project, she'd say, dropping a quick kiss on my cheek before rushing out the door. Girls' night again, I asked one evening as she slipped into a dress I had never seen before. Yeah, the girls want to try this new bar downtown, she said, barely looking at me as she fixed her lipstick in the mirror. Which girls? I pressed. She hesitated. You don't know them. Just some new friends from my art group. Lies. Olivia wasn't the kind of person to make new friends out of nowhere. She had her tight-knit circle, and that was it. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. But my gut screamed at me. The missing time. One night, she told me she'd be home by 11. At 12:30 a.m., she still wasn't back. I called her. No answer. I texted, "Hey, everything okay?" The message stayed unread. At 1:45 a.m., I heard the garage door open. I sat up in bed, my pulse hammering as the front door creaked open. Olivia tiptoed inside, her heels in her hand, her hair slightly messy. I didn't say anything at first. I just watched. She jumped when she saw me sitting on the couch. Jesus, Ethan, you scared me. Where were you? My voice was calm. Too calm. I told you girls' night went late. She avoided my gaze, slipping off her coat. I called you. My phone died. Lies. You smell like cologne, I said, my eyes narrowing. That made her freeze. Just for a fraction of a second. Then she forced a laugh. God, Ethan, you're being paranoid. Some guy spilled his drink near me. That's probably what you're smelling. Excuse after excuse. I wanted to believe her. But the pieces weren't fitting together anymore. The unlocked phone. The real breaking point came 2 weeks later. Olivia had gone to the shower, leaving her phone on the nightstand. Normally, she kept it locked, Face ID, passwords, the works. But for some reason, this time, it was open. A single notification flashed on the screen. Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? Face blowing a kiss. My blood turned to ice. I picked up the phone, my hands trembling. The message was from a contact saved as J. I clicked it. Dozens of messages. Late-night conversations. Inside jokes. Flirty emojis. Explicit photos. And worst of all, I wish I could spend the night with you instead of going home. My entire world shattered in that moment. I heard the shower water stop. My hands were shaking so badly, I almost dropped the phone. I had two choices, confront her right then and there, or wait, gather more evidence. I chose the latter, because if she thought she was getting away with this, she had another thing coming. The moment I saw that message, something inside me broke. Not just a crack, a complete collapse. I sat there, gripping Olivia's phone, my pulse roaring in my ears as I scrolled through the messages. Each word felt like a dagger to the chest. I miss you already. Last night was incredible. You always know how to make me feel special. I can't wait to taste you again. Explicit photos, videos, words I had never seen Olivia write to me in years. I swallowed, my throat dry as sandpaper. Jay. Who the hell was Jay? I scrolled up, scanning their past conversations, my stomach twisting with each passing message. And then I found it. A hotel receipt. She had sent him a photo of it. A casual, teasing text, worth every penny. The hotel was across town. The timestamp? The same night, she told me she was out with the girls. My vision blurred. My chest tightened. My breathing turned ragged. It wasn't just a suspicion anymore. It wasn't just paranoia. Olivia was cheating. And she wasn't just sneaking around, she was comfortable in her betrayal. Confident. Brazen. She had been doing this for months, maybe even longer. And I had been a fool. The sound of the shower turning off jolted me back to reality. I barely had time to put her phone back before Olivia stepped out of the bathroom, wrapped in a towel, humming to herself. Her wet hair dripped onto her shoulders as she rubbed lotion onto her arms, completely unaware that her entire world was about to change. "Hey, babe," she said casually, tossing a quick smile my way. "Why do you look so serious?" I opened my mouth, closed it. I wanted to explode. I wanted to scream, throw her phone at her, demand answers. But I didn't. Instead, I forced myself to stand, inhaling sharply. "Nothing," I muttered. "Just tired." Her eyes flickered with something, relief? Guilt. But she didn't question it. She just nodded, stretching her arms. Me too. I'm gonna head to bed early." I watched her climb into bed. Like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't been sending another man texts that would haunt me forever. I lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding in my chest. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The proof I needed. The next morning, I left for work as usual. But I wasn't going to the office. Instead, I drove across town, right to the hotel in the texts. My hands gripped the steering wheel, so tightly my knuckles turned white. I stepped inside, my heart hammering. The receptionist glanced up with a polite smile. "Hi, I was wondering if I could confirm a reservation from a couple of nights ago," I said, forcing calm into my voice. "Of course. Name?" I hesitated. Then I gave her Olivia's name. She typed on her computer, then nodded. Yes, she checked in that evening. Room 314. Is there anything else I can help you with? Checked in. Not we. She, meaning Olivia, had booked the room. Not Jay. That was all I needed. I turned and walked out before I lost my mind right there in the lobby. I sat in my car for what felt like hours, gripping the steering wheel, trying to steady my breathing. There was no denying it now. She had looked me in the eyes, kissed me goodbye, and gone straight to another man's bed. A white-hot rage burned in my chest. But underneath it, something else simmered, cold calculation. If Olivia wanted to lie to my face, I was going to make her regret ever thinking she could fool me. Catching her in the act. I knew I had to be smart about this. If I confronted her now, she'd lie, twist the truth, gaslight me into believing I was imagining things. No, I needed to catch her red-handed. So I did something I never thought I would do. I followed her. That evening, Olivia claimed she was meeting a client. I pretended to be absorbed in my laptop while she got ready. She wore a short black dress, perfume, lipstick, the kind of effort she never put in for me anymore. The second she left, I grabbed my keys and tailed her car. She didn't go to a client meeting. She drove across town, straight to a fancy rooftop bar. And not even 10 minutes later, he arrived. Tall, well-dressed. Jay. She kissed him. Right there in public. No hesitation, no guilt, no second-guessing. Like I didn't exist. Like our marriage was already dead. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. My fingers twitched toward my phone. I wanted to storm in, flip the table, ruin their perfect little date. But no. I had a better idea. I raised my phone, aimed the camera, and hit record. If she thought she was getting away with this, she had no idea what was coming next. I waited. I didn't storm into the bar that night. I didn't make a scene. No, I let them enjoy their little date. Let Olivia laugh at his jokes, let her touch his arm the way she used to touch mine. Because I knew something she didn't. This wasn't her moment. It was mine. The setup. The next evening, I planned our own date night. I told Olivia I wanted to cook her dinner, make up for all the nights we had been too busy. She smiled, maybe even looked relieved. I set the table perfectly, candles, wine, music playing softly in the background. She walked in, looking surprised. Wow, babe, this is really sweet. I smiled. Forced. Hollow. Only the best for my wife. She sat down, sipping her wine, completely unaware of what was coming. I let her talk, let her play the role of the loving wife for a little longer. She told me about her day, about her work. Every single word was a lie. And then, when the timing was perfect, I pulled out my phone, tapped the screen, and turned it around. A video played. Olivia, sitting in that rooftop bar, laughing, touching his arm, the way she used to touch mine. And then the kiss. Her face went white. Ethan. She whispered, her voice barely audible. I leaned back, crossing my arms. Go ahead, I said coolly. Tell me another lie. The lies start crumbling. She swallowed hard, panic flashing across her face. I can explain. Can you? I scoffed, shaking my head. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks pretty clear. You've been cheating on me, Olivia. Her hands trembled as she set down her wine glass. It's not what you think. I laughed bitterly. Not what I think. Olivia, I followed you. I saw you with him. I went to the damn hotel. Do you really think you can talk your way out of this? Tears welled in her eyes. Ethan, please. I never meant to hurt you. That sentence made something inside me snap. I slammed my fist against the table, making her jump. You never meant to hurt me? Are you kidding me? Olivia, you chose this. You chose to lie. To sneak around. To kiss another man while I was sitting at home, loving you like a damn fool. She burst into tears, covering her face. But I wasn't done. Who is he? I demanded. She hesitated, shaking her head. It doesn't matter. Who is he? She exhaled shakily. His name is Jason. We met months ago at an art event. It started as just talking, but then I clenched my fists, my whole body trembling with rage. So when you asked me for an open relationship on our anniversary, that was just your way of easing your guilt, wasn't it? She bit her lip, looking down. I thought maybe if we both explored, it wouldn't be so wrong. So wrong. I repeated, laughing darkly. Olivia, do you hear yourself? You didn't ask for an open relationship. You just wanted permission to keep cheating. But you never had any intention of sharing me, did you? Her silence was all the confirmation I needed. The excuses began. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Ethan, I love you. No, you don't. I do. It was just, I don't know, it was exciting, okay? I never meant for it to go this far. I stood up, pacing the room, my head pounding. Exciting? You threw away everything we built for excitement? For some cheap thrill? She sobbed. I was scared, Ethan. Scared that we were getting too boring, too predictable. I thought maybe if I had something new, it would make me appreciate what we had even more. I laughed, shaking my head in disbelief. Wow. So I was just your safety net? Your backup plan? She shook her head desperately. No. I swear I was going to end it with Jason. Oh, really? I crossed my arms. Before or after the next hotel room? More silence. More tears. But I wasn't done yet. The final blow. I walked over to the counter, grabbed a small envelope, and slid it across the table to her. She frowned, confused, before hesitantly opening it. Her face paled. What is this? She whispered. Divorce papers. Her eyes shot up to mine, pure panic flooding her expression. Ethan, no. Please, let's talk about this. We just did. My voice was ice, and I heard enough. She lunged forward, gripping my arm, her face streaked with tears. Please, baby, don't do this. I made a mistake, but we can fix this. I love you, I swear. I looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time, I didn't see my wife. I saw a stranger. Someone who had made a choice. Over and over again. You don't love me, Olivia. I pulled my arm away. You love what I give you. Security. Stability. A home. But you threw away us the moment you decided I wasn't enough. She sobbed harder, shaking her head. No, Ethan, please. I turned, grabbed my keys, and walked toward the door. Where are you going? She cried. I paused, looking over my shoulder one last time. To finally start living a life where I'm not someone's second choice. Then I walked out, leaving her behind with nothing but her regret. I walked out of that house and didn't look back. Not at Olivia. Not at her tear-streaked face. Not at the wreckage of what we once had. I didn't need to, because from that moment on, she wasn't my problem anymore. Sweet, cold revenge. But just walking away wasn't enough. No, Olivia needed to feel what she had done. She needed to lose everything the way she had made me lose faith, trust, love. So I did what she never expected. I sent the video. Not to her. Not to Jason. I sent it to her parents. Her friends. Even her boss, who I happen to know had a strict policy about employees engaging in inappropriate workplace relationships. Within hours, Olivia's world started crumbling. Her mother called her in tears, begging her to explain why she would throw away her marriage for some fling. Her friends, who she had lied to about me being too controlling, saw the truth with their own eyes. And her boss? Well, turns out Jason wasn't just some random guy. He was a client. A very married client. And when his wife found out, let's just say Olivia and Jason weren't welcome in any of their social circles anymore. By the time she called me, I was already packing the last of my things. My phone buzzed. I glanced at the screen. Olivia, 12 missed calls. I let it ring. Then I blocked her number. Because she didn't get to cry to me. She didn't get to beg for my forgiveness when she had made me feel like I was disposable. She wanted excitement. She could enjoy the thrill of losing everything. Days passed. Then weeks. I moved into a new place, a better place. One that didn't hold memories of betrayal in every corner. At first, Olivia tried to reach me through friends, emails, even showing up at my work. But I never let her in. The last time I saw her, she looked nothing like the woman I used to know. She was thinner, her eyes hollow, desperation etched into every feature. Ethan, please. She whispered when she saw me. I just want to talk. I looked at her. Really looked at her. She wasn't crying because she missed me. She was crying because she missed the life I gave her. But that life was gone. I stepped past her without a word, got into my car, and drove away. And that was the moment I knew. I won. A fresh start. Months later, I finally felt it. Freedom. I wasn't the guy who got cheated on anymore. I wasn't the husband waiting for scraps of love from a woman who had already moved on. I was just me. And I liked who I was becoming. One evening, while sitting at a cafe, I noticed a woman reading at the table next to me. She caught me looking, and instead of awkwardly glancing away, I smiled. She smiled back. And just like that, I realized Olivia was just one chapter in my life. And I was finally ready to start writing the next one.